Okay, good evening, everyone. Tonight we are beginning the fourth parak of Masechet Berachot. It's a famous parak. We are now transitioning. The first three parakim has mostly been focused on Shema Yisrael, on the times of Shema Yisrael, the start times, the end times, the brachot before it, the brachot after it, who is required to say Shema, who is exempt from saying Shema. The first three parakim are dedicated to Shema. We are now entering the fourth parak. The fourth parak has to do with tefillah. And when I say tefillah, when we use the word tefillah in this parak, we are referring specifically to the Amidah, to the Shemona Esrei, which we're going to speak about. The structure of the Shemona Esrei, how there's 18 brachot. We're going to speak about it. Why it's called Shemona Esrei. We're going to speak about the times of Shacharit, the times of Mincha, the times of Arvit. We're going to speak about how they were instituted, when they were instituted, why they were instituted. And the things, if you miss a tefillah, if you miss a Amidah, what can you do to make up for it? When are you supposed to insert Atachon Antanu? When are you supposed to insert Mashiva Aroch Merid Geshem? These things are coming up. Really, this is the parak of tefillah, of Amidah. And because of that, it's I would say it's famous. It's also fairly easy. Not to say that it's not complex. It's not to say there's a lot there. There's a lot there, but it's easy topics, easy concepts, things that we're familiar with. So Be'ezrat Hashem, she'echiyanu v'kiyamanu v'giyanu lazman hazeh. Let's begin the fourth parak of Masechet Berachot. Let's go. Daf Kaf Vav Amud Aleph 26A. If you are looking in the art scroll, it is on 26A 5. Starting with the new Mishnah. Are we ready? Here we go. I introduced some of these concepts last week, but I'll review it as we get started tonight. Tefillat HaShachar, the Mishnah tells us, the Tefillah prayer of Shacharit in the morning, HaShachar, Ad Chatzot. The end time is midday. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ad Arba Sha'ot. Rabbi Yehuda argues and says, no, Shacharit doesn't go until midday. Shacharit goes until the end of the fourth hour. There is a very important concept when you're speaking about hours and zmanim for the tefillot, is that the types of hours that we're referring to is called sha'ot zemaniot. Sha'ot zemaniot, very critical, big idea, very important concept. Sha'ot zemaniot is what's called a seasonal hour. A seasonal hour means every day from sunrise to sunset, there are 12 hours. There are 12 hours between sunrise and sunset. Those hours, depending on the time of the year, sometimes are going to be 60-minute hours, just as we have in our calendar, in our normal hours. But sometimes it's going to be 70-minute hours. Sometimes it'll even reach 75-minute hours. It might be a 50-minute hour. Depends on how much sunlight you have. So if your day starts at 6 a.m. and a day ends at 6 a.m., it means you're going to have 12 equal hours of 60 minutes each. If your day starts at 5 a.m. and your day ends at 7 p.m., so you just added an extra 120 minutes. So that's an extra 10 minutes per hour. So each hour, each sha'ot zmaniyot, each sha'ah zmaniyah, each seasonal hour is actually 70 minutes. You get the math? If you're adding an extra 2 hours on our clock, because you're going from 5 to 7, so that's really 14 of our hours. 14 of our hours, if you divide it by 12, it ends up being it's 70 minutes per hour. So this is something that's important. And when you look at the calendars, you look at the which we're going to get very, very, very comfortable with going to MyZmanim or your favorite app that has the times. And we'll do it and we'll get comfortable with what does this one mean? What does that one mean? This is the source. This chapter is the source. So when the first question is, until what time can someone pray Shacharit? It's machloket. First opinion says chatzot. What does chatzot mean? Midday. Tell me what that means with respect to hours. The end of the sixth seasonal hour. That's the correct answer, because the first half of the day is 6 hours. The second half of the day is another 6 hours. So it would be equivalent to saying 6 hours. And then Rabbi Yehuda says 4 hours. So he's going to make it 2 hours shorter. This chart here. So look at this chart as an example. So here's how he has it. This is Rabbi Stefanski's chart. And he's basically showing, like, this is, let's say this is the clock going clockwise in this direction. This is hour number 1. This is hour number 2. This is hour number 3. This is hour number 4. This green spot is the end of the 4th hour. The length of each of these blocks depends on how much sunlight hour you have. So each of these blocks could be 60 minutes, or I don't know how to go back easily here. Go back. It could be 65 minutes, or it could be 70 minutes. Each block is going to depend on the season. Sunrise, sunset, that's your daylight hours. And we'll do some examples. Okay? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Chachamim say ad chatzot, until chatzot, which means hours 5 and 6. Okay? The start time our Mishnah does not talk about. And the start time, as we've mentioned this in the past, the start time of Shacharit, we're going to see in the Gemara when is the ideal time for Shacharit, and then we'll discuss the start time, because the Gemara is going to get into it. But essentially what you have now is when is the latest time to pray Shacharit? What would you say? Machloket. What are the two sides? End of 4 or end of 6 hours. Who is the end of 4? It's important to know the opinions. It is Rabbi Yehuda. Okay? Now, let's keep going. I stopped the share. I didn't mean to. Here we go. And I know there's a lot here. Don't worry. We're gonna after this, we're gonna take a break, go to Ma'izmanim, and spend some time. Come on in. Come on in. Okay. So Tefilat HaShachar ad chatzot Rabbi Yehuda omer ad 4 sha'ot. Next. It's called it's a Chachamim. It's a unnamed opinion, which is referring to the majority opinion of the Rabbanan or the Chachamim. Okay, it's the Chachamim. It's everyone other than Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, very good. Second, no, correct. The Tanakama is usually what it's called, but here it's talking about the Chachamim. Oh, that was fast. That was fast. Okay, Tevilat HaMincha, the Mincha prayer. Ad ha'erev goes until the erev. His opinion is that the end time of mincha is erev. Now, when is erev? Let's go back to this chart for a second. There's two opinions really of when the erev is. Let's keep it simple. Very simply, if I annotate, I'll give you the red. This right here is let's say this is what Rabbeinu Yonah says. It's Shekiah, sunset. If you call this sunset, I should get a pen. This over here you call sunrise. Sorry. This is your hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minchat start time, again, the Gemara over here in our Mishnah does not tell us the start time. It just tells us the end time. The end time, according to the first opinion, according to Tanakama, is until the evening. Now, you could see over here, he wrote 2 words. Chashecha. Chashecha over here is translated as nightfall. Which is correct. Which is when the stars come out. Which is not the same thing as Shekiah. Shekiah here is sunset. Right? So to machloket to what erev means, according to Rashi, it means nightfall, which he's giving you a little bit more time to pray mincha. Whereas according to Rabbeinu Yonah, which is how we hold, the last time for mincha is sunset. Ada erev means sunset, and so that's what we'll go with right now. I'm explaining that it's a machloket, but for now, let's just go with one opinion, and we'll get into the other opinions once we talk about Seter Kochavim. Yeah.
Because it was Lila.
Yeah, exactly. And more than that, we're going to see there's a correspondence between the times of these prayers and the times of the korbanot, and the end time of the mincha korban is at sunset. So, yeah, okay, so it's a machloket. For now, take it as the fact that it's a machloket. But what's clear is what the first opinion of the Mishnah says. The latest time of mincha is night, erev. Very good. Erev, which we'll translate as sunset for now. Okay? Okay, so Tefilat HaMincha ad erev, Rabbi Yehuda omer ad plag HaMincha. we're going to have to define this term. Our Gemara will define this term. For anyone who is not familiar with the structure of Gemara, well, the way it works is that you have a Mishnah. Our chapter is starting with a Mishnah. Our Mishnah is going to be more shorthand, almost as though you had like notes on a index card. And the Gemara will then double click on each section, and it's going to say, what is Plaga Mincha mean? How do you define that? And it's going to expound on each of these details. But for now, what's clear, what's important in our Mishnah is that we have a machloket for the latest time of Mincha. Latest time of Mincha is either until the evening or until Plag HaMincha. The word Plag, anyone know what Plag means? Plag means half. Palga means half. Half of the Mincha. So what we're going to see is that whatever time is the start time of Mincha, halfway through. So I'm going to show you this visual. Again, it's a machloket, but we're going to see. But you see here, he drew this line at an hour and a quarter before the end of the day. This is 1 1/4 before the end of the day. So this is going by the point that Mincha is at 2.5 hours before the end of the day. So 2.5. So what's half of this time? 1 1/4. We're gonna see in the Gemara. We're gonna see in the Gemara what this terminology of Plag HaMincha means. It's 50%. It's a halfway mark starting at Mincha Gedolah. Sorry?
Plus 50%.
Correct. Halfway between this marker, which is 2.5 hours before the end of the day, and the end of the day, which is Plag HaMincha, is going to be halfway. The Gemara is going to explain to us. What I want to show you more is what we're seeing now is like this. Here, let's do it in Excel. It's easier to write that way. How do I get rid of these annotations? All right. Stop annotating. Shacharit. End time. Sorry? Yeah, of course. Thank you. Tanakama, which is the first opinion, and then Rabbi Yehuda is the second opinion. What is the end time of Shacharit according to the Tanakama? End of the 6th hour, also known as Chatzot. We're going to use the words of Chatzot, but I'll write 6 hours. What does Rabbi Yehuda say? 4 hours. Okay? What about Mincha? What does the Tanakama say? Erev. Very good. Which could be either sunset or nightfall. I'm saying it's a machloket. Rashi says nightfall, Rabbi Yonah says sunset. What does Rabbi Yehuda say? Plag HaMincha. And I will show you how we derive this, that what it means is 10.75 hours. Or an hour and a quarter before the end of the day. Right? Why is 10.7 hours the same as an hour and a quarter before the end of the day? Because the day is 12 hours. So if I tell you 10.7, 10 3/4, it's the same as telling you 1 1/4 before the end of the day. Okay? We're going to see how that is derived. What should come next after Mincha? Arvit. And what should come next after that? Musaf. Very good. You guys are already filling out the structure of what the Mishnah is going to tell us next. Okay? I know we're not defining all of the points here, but this is the flow of the Mishnah. Tevilat HaShachar ad Chatzot. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ad Arba Sha'ot. Tevilat Mincha ad Ha'erev. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ad Plag HaMincha. Tevilat Arvit. Let's see what the Mishnah says now. Going back to the Mishnah. Tevilat Ha'erev ein la keva. It is not fixed to a specific hour. It has no set time. Okay? So, no set time. And everyone agrees to this. I'm going to explain to you what, according to the Vilna Gaon, what this means. Rabbi Ben Chaim loves quoting this Vilna Gaon. Arvit does not have a time of its own. The time of Arvit is the time between Mincha and Shacharit. when do you pray Arvit? When it's after Mincha time and it's before Shacharit time. You get it? So when you define, which makes sense, if you're going to define for me what are the hours of saying Shacharit, and then what are the hours of saying Mincha, what you're left with is Arvit time. That's what the Mishnah is here is saying. There's nothing specific about Arvit. Now, what we're going to see is that this is related to the Korbanot. And when you talk about the Korbanot, you understand that there is no Korban of the Erev. Okay, there's two Korbanot that was brought every day in the Beit HaMikdash. There was one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Et hakeves echad ta'aseh baboker. You bring one offering in the morning. Et hakeves hasheni ta'aseh ben ha'arbaim. And you bring the second korban in the evening. So you had two korbanot that was communal, brought by everyone. Of course, in the middle, Cody's busy shechting a bunch of animals left and right, double-handed. You bring him the bulls. He could do it. But those belong to individuals or a group of people. For the most part, the communal offerings belong to there was one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And then when it was something like Shabbat, there would be a musaf offering. It was an extra. Musaf comes from the word like osafa or something that's nosaf. It's extra. It's the additional one. So then there would be three. But there was no korban arvit. After the korban and mincha, it was done. So what would they do in the evening? Anyone know? This takes us back to Daf Bet. The Kohanim eating the Truma is not related to the service of the Beit HaMikdash. That's related to a gift that was given to them. But there's something related to the service of the Beit HaMikdash, and you said it. Say it again. Very good. What was the context of why this was brought up, the burning of the fats?
Right, or Peter, when it ended according to Paul.
Okay, very good. So this is from the first Mishnah. The first Mishnah tells us as follows. I know some of you are new. It's okay. I'm just going to explain what the first Mishnah was talking to us about the times of Shema, the latest time to say Shema, and the latest time to Shema was a three-way machloket. Rabbi Eliezer said until the end of the Atzofa Shmura Rishona, the first third. Rabban Gamliel, Chachamim Orim Ad Chatzot. They said until midnight. Rabban Gamliel Omer Ad She'aleh Mod HaShachar, until dawn. So similarly, the latest time of saying Shema, the first opinion said the end of the fourth hour, similar to what we have for Shacharit. The other one says midnight, which is the end of the sixth hour of the night. And the last one said all night long. And then the Gemara said, when Chachamim say midnight, do they think like that's a hard stop of midnight? Or do they agree with Rabban Gamliel that it's really all night long, but they're just building in some buffer? That's what the Gemara asked. And the Gemara answered, Rabban Gamliel really answered, that they agree. Very good. There was a story how one time Rabban Gamliel's sons went to a wedding and they came back late from a wedding and they didn't say Shema. So they asked their Dad, we know you say until dawn, but the halacha is not like you. The halacha is like the rabbis. But can you tell us, the rabbis, would they tell us that we should say Shema now? It's after midnight. And he says, the rabbis agree with me that the latest time of Shema is until morning. And he says, not only that, but hekter chalavim ve'evarim, burning of the fats of limbs, where they tell you they should burn it all night, that they tell you could burn it until chatzot, you really have all night long to burn it. And there are certain sacrifices that have to be eaten in one day, that the sages say it has to be eaten by midnight. He says, that's also going to be all night long. So why did the rabbi say until midnight? Because they didn't want you to push it off until 4 a.m. You're going to fall asleep. But there you see, it's clear that there would be something they would do in the evening. And what would they do? They would be burning the fats and limbs of these sacrifices that weren't offered at that time. These fats and limbs, the time for it was all night long. That's why the Gemara here is telling us the burning of Arvit, we're going to end up seeing, is going to correspond to that, which could be done all night long. So there's no set time for it in and of itself. There is no Arvit Korban, but it was a follow-up of the previous Korbanot. Okay? Here we go. So you guys with me so far? We're going to do this Mishnah together by heart in another minute. Okay? Last one, Vishel Musafin. What is the time to pray Musaf? At Kol Hayom, all day long, which means you could pray it from the morning until the night, all day long. Rabbi Yehuda Omer at Sheva Shaot. Rabbi Yehuda says until the 7th hour. So I'm going to come here, Musaf. I'm going to say it means all day, which probably means the end time is going to be similar to this, Erev, but I'm just going to write all day because you also have, it could be done earlier. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, when is the latest time for Musaf? 7 hours. Okay? Who wants to try to do the Mishnah by heart? Someone's going to do it. I'll help you out. Okay? You're going to do it. Who's going to do it? You're going to do it, Mordechai. What? You can leave that up there. I'll leave that up there. Jaden just closes Gemara. Okay, ready? Here we go. Tefilat HaShachar. You got it. Okay, hold on. You got it. Tefilat Erev en Lakeva. They don't call it Arvit. They call it Tefilat Erev. But very good. Tefilat Erev en Lakeva. Good. There you go. There you go. He did it. Okay, maybe a word or two. Let's just see what is it. How does it introduce Musaf? Vishel Musafin. Okay, here we go. That's it. This is how you learn. You try. You think it's not Tefilat Musafin. It's Vishel Musafin. Okay, John. I want you to try. I think you could do it. Tefilat HaShachar. Ad Arba Shaot. Ad Arba Shaot. Okay, good. What's after Shacharit? Good. Ad Erev. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. You said it. You got it. Okay, next. Good. 3 down. Vishel Musafin. Kol Hayom. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Ad Shavet Shaot. Okay, there you go. Beautiful. There's a nice idea here. If you have a machloket, all of the times Rabbi Yehuda is early. Rabbi Yehuda was Del Kuchik. He said, "What do you get 6 hours for Shacharit? No, only 4. I only give you 4." And then it says, "Good mincha. You have until then. Oh, you're going all the way. No, bring it down back an hour and a quarter." He's busting his chops. No, you gotta be earlier. Musaf all day long. No, 7 hours. That's all you get. 7 hours. It's almost like it sounds like arbitrary. Where is he getting this from? We're going to see in the Gemara. Yes. Very good. Good question. Why didn't you say the same concept of Ada Erev? But here it says Kol Hayom. Because Musaf is unique in that the start time is the start time of Shacharit and the end time is the end time of Mincha. So actually, the window of praying Musaf is the largest from all prayers. It's like Arvit. It's like Arvit of the day. It's like Musaf is the Arvit of the day. Say this to someone, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, but that's exactly right. Arvit is like all night long. Musaf is all day long. So that's why it says Kol Hayom, because it's really teaching you two things in that it could have said Ada Erev, or it could have just said Kol Hayom, and it would be teaching you a little bit more. Now, it doesn't tell us the start times of Shacharit and Mincha, but we're going to see that in the Gemara. Okay? You guys ready to just, for a second, go to MyZmanim? You guys know what MyZmanim.com is? Let's do it. So, you go to MyZmanim.com. This is not a halftime break. This is, we're still learning. You go to 11024. Is that our zip code?
Yeah.
Kiryat Shmona, it depends. If you're Jaden, we go here. We don't know. We're going to go here. Where's Kiryat Shmona? That's in the north. Yeah. That's where they are. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. So now look at this. Do they have a? No, they don't give you a. an hour. They don't give you the seasonal hour. It would be nice if they give it. Sometimes you could change the settings. Services? No. All right. I would have liked it if they could give you the hour. All right, now look at this. We're gonna figure it out ourselves. What time is sunrise?
5:30.
Sure. You can see? Good. So you have here sunrise, which is called Hanetzach Hama, is 5:31 and 33 seconds. By the way, this is something you could just find on Google, right? This is not here, and let's prove it to you. This is a Jewish website, but now this I'm going to say sunrise on what's today? July 8th, 2025, 1024, 5:31 a.m. Okay, so this is something that it's when the sun rises. We don't have Jews don't have a monopoly on that. Yeah, it's the time of sunrise. This is not a halachic thing. It's sunrise. Okay, now latest shachari. Okay, let's do midday. Midday is simple. Wow, with a second. He kept the 12 with a second. Midday is at 1 o'clock. Okay, so what does that tell you? Someone tell me very quickly. If midday is at 1 o'clock, how many hours is the day? Approximately. You said it very fast. Very good. Say it again. What were you going to say? Yeah. How many hours, how many minutes is a day?
15 hours.
Why 15?
7.5. 5:30 to 1 p.m.
Oh, okay, very good. Sorry, Jay. Yeah. Okay, very good. You got it. Sorry.
16.
So Joey's saying correctly. It's sunrise around 5:30. Midday is around 1. That tells you that in the first half of the day, you have from 5:30 to 6 is a half hour. 6 to 12 is 6 hours. So we're at 6.5. But it's not 12, it's 1. We're at 7.5 hours for your first half of the day, which means your full day is 15 hours. If your day is 15 hours, how long is each seasonal hour? So what you need to say is like, okay, I have 15 hours. Each hour is 60 minutes. So I have 900 minutes of daylight. By the way, we're at the longest times of the year. The start of summer was like yesterday even. I even think it was 2 weeks ago. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if 900 minutes in 12, and I need to do that in 12 hours. So 75-minute hours. Each hour is 75 minutes. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, let's do it. According to the Rabbi Yehuda, who says Shacharit is the end of the 4th hour, you tell me sunrise is at 5:31. 5:30. Make it easy for yourself. What is the latest time for Shacharit? End of the 4th hour.
31. It's 5 hours.
31.
You have to do 75 is an hour and a quarter, so an hour, 2.5. 5 hours. 5 hours times 75 would you get you? Yeah, it's 5 hours. So it should get you at 10:30, 10:31, 10:32. Latest Shacharit, 10:30 and 30 seconds. Wow. Okay, that's what happens when you're rounding a minute here. This is exactly right. So latest Shacharit, according to the Gra and Balatanya, which is how we're calculating, is at 10:30. Now you see this time, you know exactly how it's calculated. It's very simple. You have to see how much daylight hours there is that day. And then this is the end of the 4th hour. Good? So now you see what we understand what this is. The latest Shema times we already learned about, and there's 2 opinions here. I don't want to get confused by that. Latest Shacharit is the end of the 4th hour, and midday is 1 o'clock. Okay? Now, let's see what time, let's see if you guys could do this. I'm going to tell you what time sunset is, and based on sunset, I want you to calculate for me when is Plag HaMincha. What did I say Plag HaMincha is? An hour and a quarter before sunset. So let's do the math. If we have 75-minute hours, how much is an hour and a quarter?
94 minutes. 93.
So I'm going to do times 1.25, and I got to 94 minutes. So whatever time is sunset, I need to do basically an hour and a half before then, because 90 minutes is an hour and a half, right? We're within. So sunset's going to be around 8:30. We're going to look in a second. So I'm guessing Plag HaMincha is going to be at 7.
6:55.
Okay, now let's see it. 6:55. Sunset is at 8:28. And to get yourself 94 minutes before 8:28, you get to 6:54. It's 94 minutes exactly. Right? Yeah, it's 94 minutes exactly. Because 8:28, an hour before, would be 7:28. 30 minutes before that would be 6:58. 4 minutes before that, 6:54. It's exactly this 94 minutes. It all comes together. Is it confusing? No? Good? It's just math. It's just math. That's why these calendars is built, this entire calendar is almost entirely built on our Mishnah. The sunset, by the way, that's also a Google thing. Sunrise, sunset is from Google. Then, what is Plag HaMincha? Well, you have to go from sunrise to sunset. How many hours is it? How much time it is? Divide by 12. That's how much your Shaot Zmaniot are, your seasonal hours. And then 4 hours is 4 of those. 6 hours is 6 of those. An hour and a quarter is an hour and a quarter of those before. Yes.
So why is it divided by 12? Or where do they get the whole, it should be 12 hours and they do 12 hours?
So the concept of the 12 hours is a it's a convention. It's a convention that they had, which happens to be it's like a worldwide convention. It's universal. The Rambam speaks about why days are 24 hours. And this is what the Rambam explains. The Rambam is novel in his explanations always. And he says, because it's divisible by so many numbers. You could have had a day that was 20 hours long.
That's round number. I've heard
And he says,
it's divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5.
2, 3, 4, 6, 8,
Right.
12.
But I didn't know that was a Rambam thing. I thought that was.
No. It's not a Rambam thing. The reason, this reason of why this convention was made, the Rambam explains, because there's so many ways to slice and dice it. So you could take a day and split it up into 4, and you can split it up into 3, you can split it up in 8, you can split it up in 2, you can split it up in 12. He says that it's divisible by a lot of numbers. But the Rambam didn't make it up. Already in the times of our Mishnah, we already have this assumption that there's 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night. And you're going to see that. And that convention is something that was worldwide. Like, how many hours are there? It's 12 hours AM, PM.
Convention. That's why, because it
Yeah.
was a worldwide convention.
Yes.
It seemed arbitrary in terms of Gemara and Torah.
It's arbitrary. It's arbitrary, but the point here is that the end of the 4th hour or the end of the 6th hour, these things are real. And it's a good point. It's a good point that you're at. Where is this source 12 from? Anyone know? I don't think there's a Torah source for the 12. I might be wrong.
Greeks came up with that.
Wow.
Originally. I just didn't know the Jews adopted it because of that.
Yeah. Sorry, Chiyun. Something I want to look into deeper. Is there a biblical source? I don't think so. The number 12, I don't think so. I don't think it's like something that we.
Once a year.
You have 12 months in the year sometimes. You also have 13
But
sometimes.
it's in other bits.
That's right. That's right. Yud Bet Chodesh. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, question. No, Halachic are not the same as second.
Possible that like hours is the same convention as what we have modern times, but they didn't have the same second.
No. So hours is the same thing. We have 12 hours. What we do in the halakha is we don't have the concept of minutes. We don't have the concept of seconds. In Gemara, it doesn't have minutes and seconds.
Yeah.
What the Gemara does is that it takes an hour, and it takes that hour and it splits it up into 1,080 halakim. It takes an hour and splits it up 1,080 ways. What we do nowadays is we take that and we split it up into 3,600 ways. 60 minutes, and then each one is made out of 60 seconds. So you have it really, each hour is 3,600 seconds. But the Gemara's approach is no, we're not going to use 3,600, we're going to use 1,080 chalakim. And also, it's a number that's divisible by a lot of things, which ends up meaning each chalak is around 3.3 seconds, 3 1/3 seconds. So that's the system of the Gemara. They didn't adopt minutes and seconds, but the 12 hours they did adopt. Yeah, it's a good point. Very good. Good. What's the cycle of new moon to new moon?
29 days, 12 hours, 34 minutes, and 330 seconds.
That's it. Very good, Andrew. You see that? People who it's their first time in the shiur, this is what happens. He's not even that smart. He's not even that smart. He just knows everything. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Andrew is matmid. Always learning. But yeah, this is the amount of time it takes from Rosh Chodesh to Rosh Chodesh, from new moon to new moon. It's 29 days, 12 hours, 44 minutes, 3 1/3 seconds. Very good, Andrew. Okay. We bring it.
Sometimes what they back then, it's a circle.
Right.
I just said, well, let's cut it in half and cut it in half again. They went from 2 slices to 4 slices to 8 slices. They just kind of round, they went down to 12 again. They could have probably went to 24 also.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hours.
Imagine if the day would have been like just 10.
Could be 24 hours, 24 hour day, and so they could have run on the watch 24 individual.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I just saw something pop up that tomorrow is going to be the shortest day ever recorded in the what is it? The shortest
Night.
day? No, like like from sunrise to sunrise, like the precise location. It's the shortest day recorded in history. I saw that. The long sunlight day. I don't know. Okay, whatever. I'll find the article. Probably like a fake article put out by some country.
Places that don't get sunlight for half the year.
Yeah, in the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, very north. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's go back to the Gemara. So everyone with me. We're gonna say the Mishnah. We're gonna do a little bit of choral reading because some of you got it by heart. I think it's important to know these words. We're gonna do it by heart. We're gonna read it together, and then we're gonna start with the Gemara. Tefilat hashachar ad chatzot. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ad arba shaot. Tefilat hamincha ad ha'erev. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ad plag hamincha. Tefilat ha'erev ein la keva. V'shel musafin kol hayom. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ad sheva shaot. Okay, so we have the 4 prayers, the end times, the 4 of the prayers, and for Musaf, we're also throwing in the start time, and also the same as for Arvit. Here we go. Says the Gemara. The Gemara is going to say it has an issue with the end time of Shacharit. What's the end time of Shacharit? 4 hours into the day, or 12 or 6 hours into the day. I have a problem. The problem is from a line of Gemara that we already saw twice in the Masechet. Here we go. Uramin, who I have a contradiction. Mitzvata, the mitzvah of praying Shacharit is im hanetzach hama. Sorry, the mitzvah of reciting Shema is to recite Shema in the morning at sunrise. Very good. That's the answer. Ready? But that's exactly the concept. The time of reciting Shema is a moment before sunrise. Why? Kedei sheyismoch geula letfilah, so that a person can join the Shema prayer, the bracha after Shema, immediately before Shacharit, v'nimsa mitpalel bayom, and you end up praying in the day. So what the Gemara is saying is that you know when is the proper time. The Braita is saying that you know when is the proper time to recite Shema. It's moments before sunrise, so that you could finish, and when it turns day, so you can pray Shacharit in the first moment of the day. So it's telling you that the mitzvah of reciting tefillah is the first moments of the day. What are you telling me 6 hours into the day? You just told me that the time to say Shema is moments before sunrise, so you can pray Shacharit when it's sunrise. And then our Mishnah tells us it's either until the 6th hour or the end of the 4th hour. So the Gemara says, how does that work out? The Gemara gives a very simple answer. What? Shema of Shacharit. Oh, because the time of Shema is what we're saying is the time of Shema is to say the moment before Shacharit. When I say Shacharit here, I'm talking about Tefillah, Amidah. So moments before sunrise is the time to say Shema in the morning, is what the Braita tells us. Why is it moments before sunrise?
Sunrise, Shema has to be right before the Amidah.
You have to say it right before you lead into your Amidah prayer at sunrise.
It has to be connected.
and it has to be connected. So you're telling me I have to connect Shema and Amidah, right? I say Shema followed by Amidah, and you're telling me I have to say Shema moments before sunrise so I can pray Amidah at sunrise. And then our Mishnah says the latest time for Shacharit is the end of the 6th hour. And it's like, hold on a second. The latest time for Shacharit is 1 minute into the day. This is what the Gemara wants to say. Like, okay, very good. So the Gemara is going to give us a very simple answer. The Gemara is going to say, I'm telling you what you should do. Ideally, you go to Vatikin, you go to Anetz Minyan. Kitanya hahi the Vatikin. That Braita is referring to the pious people who are very meticulous in mitzvot, and they do things in a way that they're going to go to the Hanetz Minyan. Right? Dama Rabbi Yochanan says, Vatikin hayu gorminota im hanetzachama. The Vatikin, which means the pious sages, the pious people, would go to the Hanetz Minyan. They would say Shema moments before sunrise. Anyone ever go to Hanetz Minyan? By the way, I've learned this. Yeah, but there's certain times, like right now, this time of year, Hanetz Minyan is what, 5 a.m. We just saw Hanetz is at 5:30. So usually they start Baruch Shamar 20 minutes before, so it's at 5:10. But you have to go. You have to like wake up beforehand.
We have any.
I don't think so.
We've never had a regular.
We have during the winter times because it's easier.
It's not a regular.
It's not a year-round consistent Hanetz. That's right. Okay, but there are many minyans that are going to Hanetz, and what Rabbi Yochanan tells us is that that's the best way to do it. Okay, that's the best way to do it. This is not a contradiction. It's telling you, Vatikin, do it this way because this is the right way to do it. But that doesn't mean that that's the latest time. The latest time is the end of the 4th hour or the later the 6th hour. So that's what the Gemara wants to. The Gemara wanted to see. Is this the only way that you could do it? That you have to pray to at a Hanetz Minyan? And the Gemara says no. That's just what the Vatikin would do. There's a concept called Zrizin Makdimin LaMitzvot. Very good, Darren. What Zrizin Makdimin LaMitzvot means is that when someone is very, how do you translate Zrizin?
Rushing to do.
Yes. You're doing things, it's the opposite of laziness. It's working with alacrity, working with zeal, working with passion. Yeah, vigilance, maybe.
Depending on how you use the word serious.
Fine. It just means very swift. Yeah, swiftness is a good way to say it also. They want to pray at the first moment that they have the opportunity. So when are you going to say Shema? Moments before sunrise, so that you could pray, so you could connect it to Shacharit, and you say it in the first moment that you have a chance. The first time to say Shacharit is sunrise, so that's when you should say it. Now you see from here, by the way, we're learning what the start time is. What's the start time of Shacharit? It's telling us. We're learning from this Braita. The start time for Shacharit is sunrise. Okay, should I tell you guys something that'll be weird? Yeah, very good, Jaden. The word is not netz. It's not netz, hachama. It's not a netz minyan. The word is hanetz. Hey nun tzadi. That's the word of sunrise. So if you look at and by the way, I know what people call it, but it's important. I want to show you something. This word hanetz hachama, this hey is part of the root of the word. It's not because the hey is sometimes it's a prefix that means the. So you might think it's ha-netz, the rising of the sun. No, it's not ha-netz, the rising of the sun. If you want to say the rising of the sun, you would say ha-ha-netz. Okay, you would add the hey because that's what would make it the. The same way how they didn't write ha-chatzot hayom and they didn't write ha-plag hamincha or they didn't write ha-shekiyat hachama. They're not writing ha-netz hachama. They're writing ha-netz hachama, which is the same as shekiyah. It's a hanetz minyan. Yeah, people are going to think you're crazy. What? I think people thought that it means the, and they felt like I could save myself half a second because I'm tired and I'm waking up at 5 a.m. So I'll save it and I'll quote it. Nes minyan.
Even the big rabbanim say Nes minyan. The ones who should know.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe they also they understand. They don't want people to think they're crazy. That's it. They want to be.
Want to be cool.
They want to be cool. They speak in slang. You're going on Nes minyan. Yeah, Brooklyn Hanetz Minyan. That's it.
The guy Joseph, go.
Yeah. Okay. No, so that's just like a small little thing. Hashkama means like it's same concept. They call it hashkama, but the hashkama is like the early one. Sometimes
One before the.
yeah. Hashkama, it could be a 7 a.m. minyan. Like on Shabbat, like the early minyan was being the hashkama. Hashkama is not a hanetz minyan. Yeah.
One before the general minyan.
This is something that we have to Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. You know how many minyanim we have as a community? It's something to be very proud of because maybe 10, 15 years ago we didn't have this. Every building packed. 5 minyanim in this building, 5 minyanim in the other one. You have another one over there. It's unbelievable. It's really this building, you could just come. You're either going to be 10, 15 minutes late for a minyan, or you're going to be 10, 15 minutes early for a minyan, or somewhere in between. It's anytime from 6:30. You start at 6:15 until like. Oh, they have a 6:15 and 54. They have a 6:30 here, and then they have a 7 here. They have a 7:45. They have an 8:15. They have a 9. I heard they want to start an 11:30 one. No, I'm kidding. That's a Chabad. Yeah. Okay, very good. Very good. Let's keep going with the Gemara. Next. So what's the latest time for Shacharit? You guys tell me what's the latest time for Shacharit. Machloket, give me the two opinions. Either Chatzot or Rabba Sha'ot, the Gemara is going to say that's it. What about the minyan that has a Shacharit minyan at 11:30? Well, no, 11:30 this time of year is fine. But the Gemara is going to say, but there are times where you could pray later. No? Let's see. Does everyone hold that the latest time for Shacharit is at Chatzot? Meaning, Rabbi Yehuda is going to pull it earlier, but the latest opinion that anyone holds is Chatzot, midday. V'ha'amar Rav Mari, Bereid Ravuna, Bereid Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. But Rabbi Yochanan says the following: Ta'ah velo yitpalel arvit. One night, somebody made a mistake. He didn't pray arvit. What happened? He was very busy. There was a lot going on, and he missed it. He missed praying arvit. So what should he do? Mitpalel b'shacharit shtayim. If it was a genuine mistake, you're going to pray your shacharit prayer twice. This is the concept called Tashlumin. Very important concept in tefillah. It's the makeup. You get a makeup. If I miss arvit, I'm allowed, and I'm not saying because I was lazy, but whatever, something happened. I was jet lagged. I went to sleep at like 6 o'clock. I woke up, it was the next morning. It happens. It happens sometimes. So you missed arvit, or someone is sick. You pray shacharit twice. Now, what does that mean? Doesn't mean you do the whole siddur, everything twice. That means you pray shacharit, you do everything, you pray your amidah once. That's your shacharit, normal. Before you make up, you first have to do the current prayer. So you're going to pray shacharit. Once you finish the amidah, you say Oseh Shalom Ra'av. Then you take a second and you should say Adonai Sefetei Tiftach Ufi Agid Tilatecha. You start amidah again. This is called Tashlumin. And this is what the halacha is. If you missed arvit for a valid reason, you say this tefillah amidah of shacharit twice. Continue what Rabbi Yochanan says. Shacharit, what happens if I missed shacharit? Mitpalel b'mincha shtayim. I'm allowed to pray my mincha prayer twice. So the Gemara wants to say, why are you telling me the last time for shacharit is at midday? You could do it all day long. Because if you don't do it in the first half of the day, you could do it in the second half of the day. So shacharit really is all day long. It's a very simple answer. What would you say the answer is? Yeah, this is if you made a mistake. We're not telling you that you can do this. This is saying that if you missed it, you can apply for a one-time extension.
Unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
Making up.
So, okay, so you're saying that that's not even technically shacharit. You're just doing a mincha prayer twice, but it's not even shacharit. That's another answer you could have given. Now, what's amazing is the Gemara doesn't give these answers. The Gemara doesn't say, the Gemara could have said, that's what it did by Vatitikin, right? It said, the latest time for shacharit is the 4th hour or the 6th hour. They said, what are you talking about? You have to go to Hanetz Minyan. So the Gemara answers, okay, Vatikin, go to Hanetz Minyan. But for everyone else, this is the law. Enter the 4th or 6th hour. So the Gemara could have said something over here also. Okay, if you missed it, you have a makeup, but that doesn't mean that that's the end time. But the Gemara doesn't answer that. Look what the Gemara answers. Very powerful. The Gemara's answer is, Kule Yoma Matzli V'Azil. You're right. You really can pray Shacharit all day long. Because if you miss it in the first half of the day, you can make it up in the second half of the day. So it's true. You can. But Ad Chatzot Yahave Le Sechar Tefillah Bizmana. Until Chatzot, you receive the reward for praying Shacharit in its proper time. Mikan Va'elach, but after midday or after the fourth hour, according to Rabbi Schar Tefillah Ya'ivele. The person receives reward for praying, but Schar Tefillah Bizmana Lo Yahavile. But the person doesn't receive reward for praying Shacharit in its proper time. Unbelievable. It's almost odd why the Gemara needs to do this, but the Gemara does this. The Gemara tells us that you're right. We have just created, there's two ways to fulfill the mitzvah of Shacharit, or a mitzvah of a prayer. There's a mitzvah of a prayer in its proper time, and there's a mitzvah of its prayer not in its proper time. If you do it not in its proper time, you count, but you only check out, you're only getting half credit. Or I don't know if you're getting half credit, but you're getting credit for doing this, but late. It's almost as though the guy, this happens. I was just in grad school, and there's a lot of discussion boards that you have to do. You have to post something, and you have to respond to someone. Then you have to say something new, and you have to ask a question or challenge something. It's always like this. Okay, you know the game, right? Like, if you want, you could put in energy, you could actually read, and you could post something thoughtful. If you don't want to, you could just say, wow, that's brilliant, good job. And you could do that. The teacher knows the difference, but whatever, you could do that. But then sometimes it happens, and I get notifications when someone posts something. All of a sudden, it's 6 weeks after the semester's over. And then all of a sudden you see this guy responding to this one. It's like, all right, the guy didn't get a grade in the course, and they said you didn't finish the work, so you have to go back and you have to do it. There's no discussion here. No one is having a discussion with you right now. This is supposed to be a discussion post. You're coming 6 months later and you're writing messages. Okay, you're schar mitzvah, schar post yavile. You're getting the credit for putting the post, but schar post bizmana lo yavile. This is not the right time. It's not the right time. You're doing it after the fact. It's clearly it's not in its ideal way. So the Gemara's answer here, the Gemara could have answered very simply by saying, you're right, you should try to do it by the end of the 6th hour. And if you can't, you can't. But the Mishnah is telling you the ideal time to do it. But the Gemara didn't do that. The Gemara is telling you that, technically speaking, if you miss it in the first half, you do have all day to do it. But don't think that that's the same thing. It's not the same thing. That is already a level lower. So if you exactly, and that's exactly the idea here of that you're not doing it during the proper time. So what we'll end up learning, what we'll see, we're not there yet. What we'll see is that this only works. It only is valid if someone missed it genuinely. They genuinely missed the time. It doesn't mean you have to be like you couldn't have said it beforehand. A very, very common thing is, let's say right now you could pray Arvit. Right now it's 9:30, you could pray Arvit. You go home, let's say you don't go to Minyan. You go home and you could have prayed, but all of a sudden the baby starts crying and you go to that and then this happens and then you're thinking, and you say, you know what, let me shower and calm down and then pray. You shower and then you fall asleep. Now, are you allowed to pray Shacharit twice? The answer is yes. It's not like you said, I'm not going to pray. It's that you're just involved with other things. Now, you should be careful. You shouldn't miss it. I remember the first time I missed my tefillah, I was sick. It was exactly something like this. I was sick. I wasn't feeling well. I went to sleep. I prayed mincha and I went to sleep. It was still during daytime. I wake up. It was morning. My body needed rest, but I felt so bad the next morning. I remember I felt so bad. And then I spoke to someone. I spoke to a rabbi, and he said, the concept of Tashlumin. There's a reason why the concept of Tashlumin exists, because sometimes you need it. So you make it up. I didn't pray at the right time that morning, but you did it. Sometimes something happens, or someone goes to a wedding and they get drunk. Look, I'm not telling you to go get drunk. You shouldn't be getting drunk. You shouldn't be doing it. But you couldn't have prayed in that state. So what are you supposed to do? So you don't pray, and then the next morning you make it up. That's also valid. It's valid. What's not valid? What's not valid is they have a minyan and you say, I don't care about praying. I'm not going to pray. Okay. So what? You now in the morning, all of a sudden you say, no, I feel bad. Too late. You missed it. Kashki, the person will want to pray in the morning. And I think even then, if you ask enough rabbis, they're going to say it's okay, you could do it. But we're not going to push someone away from praying. But yes, back to your point, this is not ideal. This is a mechanism in place for when someone makes a mistake. Okay? Good. Question?
The idea of Tashlumin, the replacement, like also from when people miss their time to give a korban, they had a chance to do korban at a later time.
Beautiful.
So like as a korban Pesach, you missed it, you could do it later. You could do it. Well,
Oh, wow, beautiful. Rama, you just brought two concepts of korbanot, very beautiful. We're going to see in the Gemara right now how it does connect it to korbanot. You're right. If someone missed the korban Pesach for whatever reason, wasn't able to bring it in the first month, Pesach Sheni. Also, there's a korban that would be brought during the Chagim, the korban Chagiga, that has to be brought on the first day of Pesach, but you have 7 days to do it. Or the first day of Sukkot, you actually have 8 days to do it. Or also for Shavuot, if someone has to bring a korban on Shavuot day, and if you miss it, you do have 7 days. So there is a concept of tashlumin. But what's important by tefillah is that you only get a one tashlumin concept.
it's the next prayer.
You could only do the next prayer. So
It's that one that's
if you miss 3 in a row, you can't go and say I'm going to do 4. I'm going to hit all the bases. What do you call it? A grand slam. That wasn't what I was saying, but yeah. What did you call it when you do all 4? You do the first, you get a single. Yeah, you hit the cycle. Oh, go pray the cycle. I'm going to do Shacharit, Mincha, Arvit, Musaf in one shot. Wants to do it on Yom Kippur. Mr. Prayer on Yom Kippur. Yeah, this guy has the 80. Yeah. So no, it's only up to 1. Only up to 1. There's some questions. There was one here.
You said you missed it one night. I wasn't sure if my reason was valid or not. Then in the morning, I just say, okay, I'm gonna do, this is my second one. This is from last night, and if I'm not supposed to, then this is a voluntary.
Yeah. Very good. We spoke about the concept of tefillah nedava. There was one rabbi, I believe it was Rabbi Yochanan, who he told us this concept of ulvai sheitpalel adam kol hayom kulo. If only someone is praying all day long, meaning that he said it's okay that you have this concept of a tefillah nedava. We actually had a shiur where we spoke about this at length. The concept of the voluntary prayer. We don't do it unless there's a reason for it. Like this would be a valid reason where someone is not sure if he can or shouldn't. But something that we mention is that there has to be something new that you mention in that prayer. There has to be some new need. And we spoke about when we say there's a new need, is it just that I ask for something new? Or is it that there's something new in my life that's making me a new request, which makes it a lot more difficult? But yes, halachically, the answer of your question is yes. More often than not, you could do the tashlumin unless you were really at fault. You were really at fault for missing it. You had an option and you just completely disregarded it. But if, things happen, things come up in life. So yeah. All right, let's go. I want to finish the Amud at least. Okay. So here we go. So we just learned this concept of you get the mitzvah of tefillah without getting the mitzvah of praying tefillah on the right time. Continuing the Gemara. So you told me that if I miss the Arvit, I could pray Shacharit twice. And if I miss Shacharit, I could pray Mincha twice. But what if I miss Mincha? Can I pray Arvit twice? That's the question. If I miss Mincha, can I pray Arvit twice? So the answer is going to be yes, but the Gemara wants to see the two sides of it. Why would you say no? Because it's a new day. Because you're going from whatever the Hebrew date is. If you're going from the 10th of Tammuz to the 11th of Tammuz. So maybe it doesn't spill over into the next calendar day. That's the Gemara's going to question. Ibayalo, the Gemara says, Ta'ah velo yitpalel mincha. What happens if I made a mistake and I didn't pray mincha? Ma'u sheitpalel arvit time. Is he allowed to pray arvit twice? Im timse lomar. And if you're going to tell me, what do you mean? You just said it. Im timse lomar. If you're going to tell me, Ta'ah velo yitpalel arvit mitpalel shacharit time, you're going to bring me a parallel case of if I missed arvit, I can pray shacharit twice. Therefore, it should be the same for mincha. But my response is going to be Mishum Lechad Yomahu, because it's the same day. Dichti va'erev va'iboker yom echad, because the day in our calendar starts with the evening, because that's what happened times of creation. Va'erev va'iboker yom echad. The first day started in the evening, and then it went to the morning. So that's why if you miss Arvit, you can pray Shacharit twice, or if you miss Shacharit, you can pray Mincha twice, because it's the same day. But if I miss Mincha, Tefillah Mkom Korbani. This tefillah is corresponding to the korban. The kevan de avar yomo batal korbano. The question similar to what Rama was saying, but a different context. Remember, I said you had two korbanot that you would bring every day. Let's say you missed that second korban. What do? Can you bring two the next morning? The answer is no. The answer is avar yomo batal korbano. The day is done. The korban is done. You missed it. The day is over. There's a couple of, that got married, and in the last day of their Sheva Berachot, they didn't say Sheva Berachot. So now it comes on the 8th day, they say, we didn't say it yesterday, we want to say it now. Doesn't matter if you want to say it now. The time was yesterday. You missed it yesterday, so you missed it. That's it. The time missed, you missed it. You don't make it up afterwards. So the same thing here. He's saying it's like a korban. Mincha is like a korban mincha. You missed korban mincha, you don't bring it the next day. So I missed my tefillah mincha, I shouldn't bring it the next day. O dilma, or maybe not. Kevan ditzlota rachamehi. Maybe I would say that since praying is really begging for mercy, kol emat debai mitzaleh ve'azel. So if I missed asking God for something in the afternoon, I could make it up in the night, right? If you tell me that it's corresponding to the korbanot, and if I miss my korban, the day is over, I can't do it, then I wouldn't be able to pray Arvit twice. But if you tell me that this is a prayer where I'm begging and asking God for something, I missed that opportunity an hour ago because I wasn't at fault, I made a mistake, I want to do it again now. So that's the question of the Gemara. The Gemara answers, Tashma, come look, we're going to give you an answer. Amar Rav Huna, Bar Yehuda, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan tells us, Ta'av lo yitpalel mincha. If someone makes a mistake and does not pray the mincha prayer, mitpalel arvit shetayim. He can pray arvit twice. Ve'ein bazeh mishum de'avar yomo batal korbano. And you don't have to be concerned with the element of the day is over, so you missed your korban. It's not like that. Even though it's a new day, you are allowed to pray shacharit or arvit twice. The Gemara says, hold on a second. Mitveh, I have a contradiction. What's my contradiction? Me'uvat lo yuchal itkon v'chesron lo yuchal lehimanot. This is a pasuk from Kohelet. It's a text. The text in Kohelet says the following: Me'uvat, someone that made something that was made crooked, lo yuchal itkon, cannot be made straight. If something is crooked, there's no fixing it. It's broken. V'chesron, if something is missing, lo yuchal leimanot. You cannot say that it can be counted. If something is missing from the count, it's missing. You can't count it. And if something is twisted and crooked, you can't make it straight. So this concept is this idea of sometimes you mess up and you can't fix it. So the Braita tells us, quoting this pasuk, Me'uvat lo yuchal itkon, something that's crooked cannot be made straight. Zeh shebitel kiryat shema shel arvit ukriyat shema shel shacharit. That's someone who bitel, omitted the shema in the nighttime or omitted shema in the daytime. You can't make it up. Or tefilat shel arvit, or tefilat shel shacharit, or the prayer. If you miss the prayer of arvit or you miss the prayer of shacharit, you can't make it up. That's what the Braita is telling us. V'chesron lo yuchal limanot. And the second half of the pasuk says that if something is missing, it can't be counted. This is when there's a group of people that decided they want to do a mitzvah and you weren't part of the group. So you can't take the credit of the group if you didn't join the group. You can't say like, oh, look at what we did. It's not we, you weren't part of it. So you have this Braita quoting the pasuk from Kohelet that has a very harsh view on someone that doesn't do something, doesn't like the concept of makeups. And it says explicitly that if someone omits the prayer of Shacharit, you cannot make it up. If someone omits the prayer of Arvit, you cannot make it up. How does that reconcile with our concept of Tashlumin? Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan will explain. What is this talking about? Shebitel b'meizid. If the person purposefully, intentionally decided to omit the prayer of Shacharit. If someone intentionally did it, there's no making up. And if you look at the text, go back for a second, look at the word that it was used. It says, Zeh shebitel. Bitel means that he canceled or he omitted, like intentionally. This person that intentionally canceled it, he can't make it up. What happened? Oh, he went to the next page. Here we go. Amar Rav Asher says, Daikanami, what you're saying is very precise in the language as well. Diktani, as the Braita says, bitel. It says if someone omitted the prayer. Look at Tani ta'a. It doesn't say if he made a mistake. Shema Mina, we see from here that that's exactly what it means. Because look, I'm going to go up a little bit. And when we introduced this concept of Tashlumin, look how it introduced it to us. It says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, ta'a velo yitpalel arvit, mitpalel shacharit shalem. Ta'a means he made a mistake. Or it says, right, so this is ta'a. Ta'a means he made a mistake. What just happened? Ta'a, he made a mistake. And then, when you ask the question about what happens if I miss mincha, it says, ta'a velo yitpalel mincha. If you made a mistake and didn't pray mincha, can I pray arvit twice? And the response was, Rabbi Yochanan says, ta'a velo yitpalel mincha, mitpalel arvit shtayim. If you made a mistake. Now you have a braita that says, guys, if you messed up, you messed up. You can't make it up. And it says, someone who decided not to pray can't make it up. So Gemara says, how do you reconcile it? Very simple. This is someone who decided not to do it. Next time someone comes to you and says, arvit, 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 and you say, no, not for me. I don't want to pray. Now all of a sudden, chas v'shalom, in the morning time, the guy is not feeling good and he feels sick and he regrets what he did last night. He says, God's paying me back, God's paying me back. Sorry. Meuvat lo yuchal litkon. Something that's crooked cannot be made fixed, meaning you had a chance. You intentionally decided not to. So if you decided not to, then you're not going to be able to make it up. Most people are not like this. Most people that are interested in praying a second time, something got in the way, they got busy, they got caught up with something, they forgot. It happens. It happens. You don't need to be so harsh on yourself. Like Nick, sometimes you said like, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to or not. I'm pretty sure you're allowed to. Because you're not the type of person that's going to say like, I don't want to pray. You're not ever being mevatel. What happened? I don't know, you're a little bit tired, or something happened, or like it's a Knicks game, or it's a Hanetz game, or something like that. So, what? The Torah wasn't given to angels. Lo nitna Torah l'malachei hasharet. Exactly. Very good. The Torah wasn't given to angels. Okay, very good. So as we are concluding the daf, this is the end of the page. Return to 26A. Next week, I just want to do a quick review. We introduced the concepts of Sha'ot Zmaniyot, which are seasonal hours, which we're going to do more examples of. You have to take sunrise to sunset. That's how long the time is. You take those hours and slice them up. We talked about the end times of Shacharit, Tefilat HaShachar, At Chatzot, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Ad Arba Sha'ot, either the end of midday or the end of the fourth hour, Tefilat HaMincha, Ad HaErev, until the evening, which Rashi tells us means nightfall. Rabbi Yonah means sunset. We're going with sunset for us for now. And Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ad Plag HaMincha, which we explained means an hour and a quarter before sunset. Very good. Tefilat HaErev, Ein La Keva, has no set time, which according to the Gra, what that means is that the times of Arvit are the times when it's after Mincha, before Shacharit. Like it doesn't have its own time. It's just when you're in like no man's zone between Mincha and Shacharit. That's when you pray Arvit. And finally, V'shel Musafin Kol Hayom, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Ad Sheva Shaot. And we're going to see. Yeah, and even this Rabbi Yehuda Omer Ad Sheva Shaot, some take it out of our text. The Gemara is going to discuss that. So then we have this, and once we did this, we asked the question of the concept of making things up. When I'm making things up, it means if you miss a prayer, the ability to make it up afterwards. Doesn't that mean that you could really pray all day long? The Gemara says, yeah, you can technically make up your shacharit after this time, but that's not doing it during the proper time. But this introduced to us the concept of making up tefillot, called Tashlumin. Very important concept in tefillah, and we're going to speak about it next time. I'm going to leave you off with a question. Let's say you leave a very unique prayer. When you make up the next prayer, what do? I'll give you an example. We just learned that if you miss mincha, you can pray Arvit twice. Let's say you miss mincha Shabbat afternoon. So Shabbat mincha afternoon is a very unique tefillah. Arvit of Motzei Shabbat is something completely different. It's Amidah, of the weekday, plus you have Atachon Antanu. It's like something else. If I miss Mincha and Shabbat, can I make it up? If I make it up, what am I saying? Am I going to say the Mincha prayer? Or am I just going to say Arvit twice? And if I say Arvit twice, do I say Atachon Antanu twice? What happens if I miss Musaf? Do I make up Musaf prayer? What happens if I miss Rosh Chodesh, Mincha, Rosh Chodesh with Ya'aleh V'Yavo? I miss it. Then I'm supposed to make it up, but if it's the nighttime, do I say Ya'aleh V'Yavo the next day? Oh! All of these types of questions you could ask. And that's what we're going to do in the next following Be'ezrat Hashem in the next year. Okay? Good finger. Okay? Azak Baruch. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good night.